What's going on? No Horsing Around family. This is Zach's rant. Obviously, if you're not willing to participate in my rant, I do apologize. Just going to give you that disclaimer from the very beginning. This is my take on the Colts 0-3 start. I think everybody in the Colts community is just pissed off at the way that they've played, the way that they've started this season. And I don't think it's as much that they've lost football games. I think it's how they've lost football games. It's very uninspired football. The game plan doesn't seem to be what we would have expected, in the past. The energy's not there on defense, and we're just getting our ass kicked every single week. And it's the same old, song and dance. We come out after the press conference, and our stars will step up and say, we're just not that far away. Or I just, got a bad taste in our mouth. We're going to get it corrected. Well, my question is when? When are you going to get it corrected? You've had a terrible offensive line the first 2 weeks. You got your starting quarterback hurt. He hurt both of his ankles. He was a complete statue against the Titans. He gutted it out. I think a lot of people questioned his toughness. I think that's less of a question now. He did play in this game, try to give us a chance to win. There's one thing in this football game, in my opinion, that we did halfway decent was run the football, and we completely abandoned the run in the fourth quarter. The one thing that got us back in the football game, we just completely went away from it. No crossers in the offensive concepts. Anybody knows just how lethal that Phillip Rivers was with those crossers across the field, that quick rhythm stuff. Just none of it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. And a lot of this is top down, man. I mean, there's so many people, in this hierarchy to blame. And we're also high on all of these coaches and the staff and management, general managers, Ed Dodds, Chris Ballard, the whole thing, right? We're all so passionate about that. We all believe in who we have, our leaders in our organization. And it's important for us to be honest with ourselves and be honest with what's happened, from the top down. It all starts with Chris Ballard and the roster construction. Look, this team didn't have any depth on the offensive line, and that falls on Chris Ballard. That doesn't fall on anybody else. Injuries are injuries, and you have to expect them in the NFL. Last year was an abnormality. We just played pretty healthy, for the most of the season. I know we had to bring in Velhair at the end of the season due to the injury, but, we were pretty healthy all in all. You got to expect it. You got to have really 7 or 8 capable offensive linemen to play in modern day NFL. That's just the way it is. And if you don't, you're going to get beat up as the season goes along. I didn't think Eric Fisher played very well. He played with real bad balance yesterday. And the offensive line in general, they didn't give up as many sacks, as many hits, but we were just bad. There's just no other way of putting it. It wasn't sound. Rivers did miss that touchdown throw to Pittman Jr. and just rushed it. And that's just because he has 2 bad ankles, right? He can't step into that throw. If he steps into that throw, that's an easy touchdown. That might change the complexity of the football game. It's almost an historical football game when you win the turnover battle 3-0 and you're not able to win that football game. We don't have cornerbacks capable right now of really keeping up with anybody in the NFL. Kenny Moore has been our most reliable cornerback in the past several years, in my opinion, and he has now twice been beaten on a slant and go route. DK Metcalf, you can kind of get at Chester Rogers. You wouldn't think that Kenny Moore's getting beat by Chester Rogers. It is what it is. Darius Leonard had that interception. He threw the ball right to him. He had no burst at all. These guys gutting it out playing. We all want our players to play when they're hurt. Show us, that you're willing to play for your team. But at some point when you're hurt, I don't know if you're even hurting your own team. I don't know. I don't have the answers. You can light us up in these comments. You guys always do. If you haven't liked, rate, review, share, or subscribe, we're so grateful for all the subscribers and all the people that's joined the No Horsing Around family. Frank Reich, man. That's a guy who I'm a big fan of. Frank Reich coming in the season, and he's been really, in my opinion, he's not been very good. This offense has just been mundane, and you just can't make excuses. The excuses will fall on deaf ears as the season goes along. I think there is a 2% chance in a 16-game schedule. We all know we're 17 games now, but there's a 2% chance that team starts 0-3 and makes the playoffs. And that's the history, right, of the NFL. That's 2%. I mean, common sense will tell you 2% is not a very good chance, right? That doesn't mean impossible. And everybody's going to go back to that 1 in 5. You know, we started 1 in 5. And we found a way to dig ourselves out of that hole. Two things: we had a much easier schedule, and B, we had a much better quarterback. That's just my opinion. You know, I mean, everybody's going to maybe beat me up over that and say, oh, well, Carson's not been the problem. And I'm not going to say he is the problem, but Andrew Luck was a better quarterback than Carson Wentz. This I have no doubt about. I mean, I just think that Andrew Luck was just one of those rare special guys, man. He just had that it factor, especially at the end of games. He tended to make plays, you know, that helped his team, not hurt his team. But it's a lot of doom and gloom in Colts Nation right now. And I don't really know what it's going to take to get back. You know, you would like to think against the Dolphins, they're playing with a backup quarterback. We all know about Jacoby Brissett. Well, Brissett's not a very good quarterback either, right? Like, in his own right, but he was able to go out there and do a little something, put that game into overtime. Now, they did end up losing that game into overtime. We're very familiar with Jacoby and the way he plays the game. But I'm really let down with our defensive effort, man. I mean, we're just not – it's always been 7 guys to the ball. It's always been 7 guys to the ball, and everybody's just scratching their head every time. There's a lot of bickering, a lot of arguing, a lot of people just out of place. You know, McNichols had that walk-in touchdown and pretty much, you know, caved us in there towards the end of the game. That's just because guys aren't, you know, they're not where they're supposed to be. They're missing assignments. I think we're missing a real voice. Not guys who just talk a lot, but guys who back it up with their play. Teams know we have one guy who can put pressure on him. That's DeForest Buckner. They're doubling him and chipping him every single time, and they're daring our edge rushers to get to the quarterback, and they cannot. I mean, they absolutely cannot get to the quarterback. Muhammad's had a couple flashes. Kamal Couture had one play yesterday. That's one play. You know, it's not enough. It's unfortunate Kwity Paye went down with that hamstring injury. He hadn't got to the quarterback really either. He was a little better in the run game than some of those other guys, but just not a very good football team right now. We're 0-3, no excuses. And, you know, who do you guys blame? Do you blame Eberflus? Do you blame Reich? Do you blame Ballard? Do you blame all of them? Do you blame the players? Which player is it? Let us know in the comments. Let's get a good, healthy conversation going as we kind of transition this week into, you know, 0-4 back against the wall. And I don't know, you lose 0-4, what do you do? You know, what do you do? Do you go ahead and start putting some of these players on IR and saying it's over? Do you continue to play until it's over, until you're completely out of the picture? You certainly are not going to give a first-round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles. I've heard a lot of people say, well, we're going to lose all these games, and the Eagles are still going to get a top 10 pick. That's not going to happen. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to happen. They're going to bench Carson Wentz. It's a caveat. 75% of the snaps and missing the playoffs. 70% of the snaps and making the playoffs. We don't make the playoffs. He's got to play 75% of the snaps for them to get that first-round pick. He's not playing 75 snaps. I can tell you right now, he's not playing 75 snaps if we are, you know, 0-5, 0-6, 0-7 out of the playoff hunt. They're going to IR him. They're going to do whatever they need to do. They're not going to play him. And then it's almost malpractice. You know, Brett Hundley has been on your practice squad all season long. He comes in, he's your backup. I understand now he's played in NFL games. I'm not saying I even disagree with it. But the person putting this team together and the coach don't seem to be on the same page with this. The person putting this team together seems like Jacob Eason is the backup quarterback. The person coaching this team seems like he has no trust whatsoever in Jacob Eason. Maybe he's pissed. Maybe he's hurt over that, you know, that terrible interception that Eason threw at the end of that game. I'm not an Eason fan. I said all along I thought that Ellinger would beat out Eason. Now, Ellinger had that terrible injury towards the end of the playoffs or the end of the preseason run. He's been put on IR. I don't know when he can return. I don't know when he will return. I think he can return actually as early as week 4 or 5. I'm not sure if he has to practice 1 week, then be able to play in week 5, or if he can actually just come right to the team. Be interested in seeing how long that's going to be for Ellinger. Be interested to see how long that's going to be for, you know, for T.Y. Hilton. Who knows what's going on with T.Y. Hilton? You've got Braden Smith now missed 2 games. You could have probably just IR'd him. I don't understand the thought process on not IR'ing him. If he's going to miss 3 games, It's all the same, right? But it's bad times to be a Colts fan. That doesn't mean it's impossible. But I want people really to understand. Let's not compare this to that 1-5 season. It's not the same. We're playing really good football teams. We're playing Tampa Bay. We're going to go against Belichick. I think we've got to go. I think we still have to play the Cardinals. We still have to play the Ravens on Monday Night Football. It's not going to get a lot easier. You hope you can win your 4 games in your division against the Jaguars and the Texans. There's your 4 wins. How are you going to find another 6 wins collectively as the season goes? Well, it starts this week against the Dolphins. You got to go out there and, muster up something and see where you're at. How's Carson Wentz feel? We'll find out, I'm sure, later today. Frank will talk to the media. But we'll see, man. But as for now, Colts are 0-3. Started off this season not playing well, not good enough, no excuses. And, guys, we just want to get a healthy conversation going. If you're pissed off, let us know. Comment in the comments on the YouTube, comment, DM us on Twitter. We'll do whatever we need to do. We need to get this out of our system and move on to week 4. But for now, we got a 24-hour rule here at No Horsing. We're going to get it out of our system. And then we move on and we game plan just like the Colts do. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Have a great